Good morning and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast. It's Good Tues-News Day. We're covering all the good and positive news we've been able to scour all over the internet, and there's also some kind of crazy stuff that happened that is also good, which is always fun to find. We love combining the wacky and the good.
Yeah, the good and the wacky.
This is Before Coffee. The show where we look up our news stories 10 to 15 minutes before we've started and we haven't had any caffeine. Let's get into these headlines, shall we? Today on Before Coffee, the Peruvian fisherman rescued after 95 days adrift in the Pacific says he survived by eating turtles and cockroaches. Also, 3-year-old is hero for braving the dark to help great-grandma after bloody fall. Yay, I did it!
And this is Roger for the United States on Good Tues-News Day. We have good news from Texas, of all places, on renewable energy. Texas broke its solar, wind, and battery records in one spring week.
Could titanium hearts be solution to a global donor shortage?
And the MacArthur Foundation will increase giving for 2 years in response to public television funding crisis. And BYD announces charging tech that's twice as fast as Tesla's.
Neil Young rejects dynamic pricing for concert tickets. Credits The Cure's Robert Smith for the decision.
And it's National Sloppy Joe Day. Sloppy, Sloppy, Sloppy Joe, as the Adam Sandler song goes. March 18th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Sloppy Joes are really good, but they're also very sloppy. That's how you got them. They're all wet and gooey.
You eat them and wear them. Yep.
Yeah, you eat them. Just make sure you have a bib. Though I don't think I've had a Sloppy Joe in a long time. It's not that it has a lot of ingredients. It's just kind of like some sort of tomato sauce. And
yeah, it's like a barbecue sauce mixed with hamburgers.
Yeah, that's it.
Totally like hamburger soup.
Yeah, and you just slop it on your plate, and then you lick your plate clean or something. Bun. Yeah, throw it on a bun.
Eat it over the sink because you're just gonna make a mess.
All right, let's roll our segue wheel here before we start, so we know what you have to say. Make our decisions for us. Wheel.
Here comes a limerick. I can hear it.
No, almost, but you got a haiku, which they're right next to each other, so.
Oh, okay.
You got lucky this time.
Yeah. Still gotta think.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all key.
All right.
Speaking of Irish, yesterday was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
An Irishman, Rory McIlroy, won the golf tournament. It was delayed till Monday because of rain. An Irish guy won it on St. Patty's Day. Isn't that fitting?
Well, speaking of, I don't have a segue from that. The Peruvian fisherman has been rescued, and he says he survived off eating turtles and cockroaches as he was lost at sea for 95 days adrift. You know, not maybe on a boat. I'm not sure. Maybe he was just literally a body floating in the water for I think he was probably on a boat. I think you would probably die from exposure if you were just floating around in the ocean.
What did he eat?
Cockroaches and turtles. This is from Reuters and other agencies. On December 7th, Maximo Napa Castro, 61-year-old Peruvian fisherman, set out to fish from the city of Marcona in the Ica region on the southern coast of Peru. He was carrying food for a 2-week trip. Okay, so he was already planning to be out there for a while. But 10 days later, a storm blew his boat off course, and Napa ended up adrift in the Pacific Ocean. His family had begun a search that finally ended on the 11th of March, 95 days after his disappearance, when an Ecuadorian fishing patrol found the fisherman in Ecuadorian waters some 680 miles, or 1,094 kilometers off the Peruvian coast. Severely dehydrated and in critical condition, he had gone 15 days without drinking water, and according to his testimony, managed to survive by drinking the rainwater he was able to collect, as well as eating insects, birds, and a turtle. I didn't want to die, Napa told Reuters after reuniting with his brother in the city of Paita in the Peruvian region of Piura, near the border with Ecuador. I ate cockroaches, bugs, The last thing I ate was turtles. Napa also stated that he maintained his strength by thinking about his family, including his 2-month-old granddaughter. I thought about my mother every day, and I'm grateful to God for giving me a second chance. Regarding the Ecuadorian who found him, he says, I love them. They are part of my family. His mother, Elena Castro, told local media that while her family had remained optimistic, she had begun to lose hope. I told the Lord, whether he's alive or dead, bring him to me, even if it's just to see him, she told the TV Peru. But my daughters never lost faith. They told me, Mom, he will come back. He will come back. His daughter, Ines Napas Torres, wrote on Facebook on the 3rd of March, Every day is anguish for the whole family, and I understand my grandmother's pain, because as a mother, I understand her. We never thought we'd go through this situation. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. We will not lose hope, Dad, of finding you. After her father was found, she published a post of gratitude on the same social network, where she also had words for the Ecuadorian rescuers. Thank you, my Ecuadorian brothers, for rescuing my father Gaton. God bless you. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm very sensitive to dad stuff. Anyways.
Oh, no.
According to Equivision Network, Mexico Napa received a medical attention at the Nuestro Señora de las Mercedes Hospital in Paita and was discharged last Saturday. So everything's well. He survived his 95 days adrift at sea and was able to return back to his family, who had not lost hope yet. Almost lost hope, but had not lost hope yet. And more, I guess, family-based...
Hold on.
You have a haiku for this story? Okay.
Yeah, just before you move on. What can a man eat? If you're stranded in the ocean, turtles and roaches.
I didn't even know cockroaches were out there swimming around, but I guess they're insects just like
They're
crabs.
indestructible.
Yeah.
Unless you eat them. Tasty toad.
A 3-year-old is a hero for braving the dark to help great-grandma after a bloody fall. This is from Andy Corbally on Good News Network. From Colorado comes a story of a little boy conquering his fear of the dark to help a family member in an emergency. Sharon Lewis, a 77-year-old great-grandmother with mobility problems, fell on a concrete slab, suffering a serious concussion. She knew she needed to call 911, but had left her phone in the car. All alone that evening with her little 3-year-old grandson, great-grandson, he was her only hope. Bridger came and found his Gigi, short for great-grandmother, lying on the ground bleeding from her head. I said, So Bridger, you're going to have to be a big boy and go out to the car and get Gigi's phone. And he said, It's really dark, Gigi, Louise recounted. I said, It'll be okay, Jesus will help you. Don't be afraid. Home security footage shows Bridger walking determinedly into the garage, saying to himself, Don't be scared, before opening the car door and finding the phone. I went out, right there, and I was so scared, Bridger said in a video message shared with Good Morning America reporter on the story. Despite his fears, he celebrated finding the phone with the camera, picking him up saying, Yay, I did it! Bridger later said he wanted to be brave like the puppies on his favorite show, Paw Patrol. Lewis would end up needing 23 medical staples in her head for the fall. She said she started to call him Hero, but he just reminds her that his name is Bridger. That's not my name, Grandma. My name is Bridger. He doesn't get it, but he really is a hero to me, she said. That's such a cute ending. That's so adorably cute. My name's not Hero, it's Bridger. But there's my shorter story on another hero. Just a smaller hero. And there's a cute little photo of him like in a black and white going out to the car to get the phone. Yeah, I remember when I was 3, being in the dark was also very, very scary. You got a haiku? Is your haiku ready?
Soon found phone. Okay. Dark is quite scary. Dark is quite. Damn it. I don't have a haiku. I had one for the first one. Darkness is quite scary when you're 3 with Granny, but he found the phone.
There we go. He did.
There you go. All right. Damn. I didn't have to do 2. I didn't have to do 2.
Yeah, you challenged yourself there.
I went the extra mile. I got bonus points.
Yeah, here's your bonus points.
I can spend it all later on the cockroach and turtle buffet.
All right, let's roll my wheel. Which is...
Get my reading glasses on.
I also have to make a haiku. Get my pen and paper out.
But you only got one story. This is a story from canarymedia.com. It's 8 to 10 minutes, it says here. Texas broke its solar, wind, and battery records in one spring. We'll try to get through this in less than 8 minutes. Clean energy journalism for a curl tomorrow, it says. Renewables and batteries are playing an increasingly crucial role for the state in the shoulder season when coal and gas plants fall offline in large numbers. As winter turns to spring, Texas is setting new records with its nation-leading clean energy fleet. In just the first week of March, the ERCOT power grid that supplies nearly all of Texas set records for the most wind production at 28,470 megawatts, most solar production at 24,818 megawatts, and greatest battery discharge at 4,833 megawatts. Only 2 years ago, the most that batteries had ever injected into the ERCOT grid at once was 766 megawatts. So that's like 6 times as much, more than that. Now the battery fleet is providing nearly as much instantaneous power as Texas nuclear power plants, which contribute around 5,000 megawatts, which is also clean power. So that's a lot of money, a lot of energy being produced, so we don't have to burn coal and oil and natural gas. These records, along with the generator interconnection queue, point towards a cleaner and more dynamic future for ERCOT, said Joshua Rhodes, a research scientist studying the energy system at the University of Texas at Austin. The famously developer-friendly Lone Star State has struggled to add new gas power plants lately, even after offering up billions of taxpayers' dollars for a dedicated loan program for private gas developers. Solar and battery additions since last March average about 1 gigawatt per month, based on ERCOT's figures, Texas energy analyst Doug Lewin said. In 2024, Texas produced almost twice as much wind and solar electricity as California. That's really astounding. Of course, Texas does have a lot of wide open spaces, which is very, very windy. Don't think California has any place as windy as Corpus Christi, for instance. When weather conditions align, the state's abundant clean energy resources come alive. And those conditions aligned last week amid sunny, windy, warm weather. On March 2nd at 2:40 p.m. CST, renewables collectively met a 76% of ERCOT demand. Then on Wednesday evening, solar production started to dip with the setting sun. More than 23,000 megawatts of thermal power plants were missing in action. Most of those were offline for scheduled repairs, but ERCOT data showed that nearly half of all recent outages had been forced, meaning on schedule. At 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, batteries jumped in and delivered more than 10% of ERCOT's electricity demand, the first time they've ever crossed that threshold in the state. Batteries just don't need that kind of maintenance windows that thermal plants do, said Lewin, who authors the Texas Energy and Power newsletter. The fleet of thermal plants is pretty rickety and old at this point, so having the batteries on there, it's just not a summertime thing or a winter morning peak. They can bail us out in the spring too. At some level, the March records show clean energy excelling in the conditions that are most favorable to it. Bright sun and strong winds boosted renewable generation, while temperate weather kept demand lower than it would be on a hot summer and a cold winter day. But those seemingly balmy circumstances could belie a deeper threat to the Texas energy system. One thing I don't think is talked about nearly enough is the potential for problems in shoulder season, said Lewin. If unusually hot weather struck during a spring day with lots of gas and coal power plants offline, ERCOT could struggle to meet demand even if it was much lower than the blistering summer peaks. In fact, this happened in April 2006 when a surprise heat wave forced rolling outages, Lewin noted. Texas officials don't talk much about climate change, but that kind of hot weather in the springtime is becoming more common. They don't talk about it, but they need to. Last summer produced ample data on how a surge in solar battery capacity reduced the threat of the grid and the heat waves and lowered energy prices for customers. This spring, batteries and renewables are showing they can also fill the gaps when traditional plants step back. See, that was not 8 to 10 minutes. They must have been expecting me to click on all their links and stare at the pictures for
Read
a while.
every single information about this, yeah.
Yeah, I read everything. Even read the captions of the pictures, and that was not 8 to 10 minutes. So sometimes these stories are intended for really slow readers. But there's your story on Texas clean energy. I thought it would be longer, but that's fine. It's still got all the information out there.
Yeah. Well, my haiku would be the clean energy, the fleet of the solar and wind. Texas can surprise you.
That's right. When they found out that, we're saving money by not having our carbon burning plants up to snuff because it's still March.
Yeah.
It's going to be peak season. And surprise, wind power and solar bail them out with its capacity to store energy in batteries.
Oh, yeah. Okay. For our next...
All energy can power in batteries, not just solar and wind, of course. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's go to our next segue.
Great.
Personal story.
Ooh, all right, I gotta pay attention.
All right, this is only one story, so
All right.
it's about heart donors, so maybe you have a story about that. This is from Arisha Lodi on Al Jazeera. An Australian man with heart failure has become the first person in the world to survive more than 100 days with an artificial titanium heart as he waited to receive a donor transplant. The breakthrough raises hope that fully mechanical hearts could one day replace the need for donor transplants. Diseases of the heart and surrounding blood vessels are the leading cause of death globally, killing around 17.9 million people each year, according to the World Health Organization. Here's what you need to know about the titanium heart works and whether it can solve the global donor shortage. The man is in his 40s, who declined to be identified, became the first person to be discharged from the hospital with a fully artificial heart implant. During a 6-hour surgery in November 2024 at St. Vincent's Hospital in Sydney, the Bivacor Total Artificial Heart, TAH, made of titanium was implanted into the patient who was experiencing severe heart failure. Like it was this or they're going to die. After spending a few weeks in intensive care, followed by observation in the hospital, the patient was discharged in early February. He lived with the artificial heart for 105 days before receiving a donor heart transplant on the 6th of March, and is currently recovering well according to his doctors. Okay, cool. So this heart, and it doesn't look like a heart. It looks like, well, it looks kind of like a motor. That's what it is. It's got like a, the right and the left ventricle, but instead of kind of that weird shape the heart is in, it's more of like a long shape. So it's right is here, left is here, and I think they probably just connect them. I don't know how they connect them. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how you connect flesh to titanium. In July 2024, a 57-year-old man with an end-stage heart failure received this transplant as well at the Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center in Houston, Texas, in the United States. This was the first human implantation of the titanium heart, serving as a bridge to a real heart transplant. The device supported the patient for 8 days in the hospital until a donor heart became available. Between July and November 2024, 4 other men in their mid-40s to mid-60s in the U.S. also received the Bivacor, TAH. Each patient successfully transitioned to a donor heart transplant and was discharged from the hospital within a month. None of the U.S. patients left the hospital with the device. But could this solve heart donor shortage? The titanium heart could possibly help address the donor shortage by keeping patients alive while they wait for a real heart transplant. Additionally, not everyone with heart failure is eligible for a human heart transplant in the first place due to factors such as old age, underlying conditions, or substance abuse. Donor hearts are typically reserved for those with the most serious cases. Although it is still unclear whether the titanium heart could ever become a permanent replacement, experts on the team say that it's their ultimate goal. While we are starting with a cohort of patients who are clinically declining while awaiting heart transplants, the most important patient population is the patients who do not have a transplant as an option, said Joseph Rogers, president of the Texas Heart Institute and national principal investigator for the U.S. trials. The U.S. procedures began as a 5-person feasibility study approved by the country's Food and Drug Administration, with plans to expand to more than 15 more patients in the coming months. These trials aim to determine whether the titanium heart can safely keep patients alive while they wait for a transplant. After this phase, Rogers says the team plans to launch a larger study that will also include patients who may accept the Bivacor's heart as a permanent replacement for a failing heart. If all goes well with the clinical trials, I could imagine the device being available more globally in 4 to 5 years, he said to Al Jazeera via email. Still, he adds that people must take care of their heart health so that they never need any of these therapies. The need for alternatives like artificial hearts is because finding a donor heart isn't easy. Yeah, someone has to die. There aren't enough available, and a matching heart to a patient can take time, right? Because you need a healthy heart. I can't just take some rando's heart, right? It needs to be a healthy heart, and most people who have healthy hearts are probably dying from an accident, and you don't want more accidents to be happening. That's bad. So, in the United Kingdom, for example, patients on the regular waiting list for a donor heart usually wait 18 to 24 months. Those in urgent or emergency cases get priority and may receive a heart sooner because their condition is more critical. Heart failure affects at least 26 million people worldwide, including 6.2 million adults in the US. However, heart transplants remain rare, with fewer than 6,000 performed globally each year, reserved only for the most severe cases. So, how does the titanium heart work? The titanium of artificial heart works very differently from a real heart. A natural heart beats by squeezing and relaxing to pump blood, but this artificial heart does not beat at all. Instead, it's a spinning disc inside that moves the blood around the body. This disc floats in place using magnets, so it never touches anything, meaning there's no friction and less chance of it wearing out over time. That's true. I was thinking if it's an engine, right? It needs oil or something. To keep running, the artificial heart needs a small external controller, which is powered by batteries during the day and plugged into a power source at the night. Don't forget to Hey Johnny, don't forget to plug yourself in before you go to bed. A thin cable runs under the skin to connect the heart to this controller. Most artificial heart devices only replace one side of the heart, usually the left side, but the Bivacor heart completely replaces the entire organ, making it an option for people whose whole heart is failing and who might not survive while waiting for a donor heart. So, why titanium? Titanium was chosen because it is strong, lightweight, and resistant to corrosion, making it ideal for long-term use in the body. Yeah, you don't want something rusting inside of your body. Just thinking about that makes me die. Unlike other artificial hearts, which have multiple moving parts that can wear out, this one only has one spinning disc, reducing the risk of failure. For the development of the Bivacor of the artificial heart, SynCardia total artificial heart was the most commonly used device for patients with severe heart failure. Approved by the FDA in the early 2000s, the SynCardia heart is constructed primarily of polyethylene, a type of durable plastic. Over the past 2 decades, it has been temporarily implanted in more than 2,000 patients across 20 countries while they awaited donor heart transplants. However, the SynCardia device is relatively large and complex, with multiple moving parts that can wear out over time. Plastic rubbing on plastic. Another way we can get microplastics in our bodies. Scientists have also explored using animal organs to treat heart failure. In January 2022, surgeons at the University of Maryland Medical Center in the U.S. performed the first transplant of a genetically modified pig heart into a human patient with severe heart disease. Despite initial success, the patient developed complication and passed away approximately 2 months later. That is not the 100 days that the titanium heart guy lasted. So, how long could the titanium heart last? Currently, no one knows the exact lifespan of the titanium heart in humans. In lab tests, the device is operated continuously for more than 4 years without signs of failure. While in Australia, the man's 100-day trial was the longest recorded use of the titanium heart in a human, the Bivacor team said further trials are needed to determine whether it could be a long-term replacement rather than just a temporary bridge to a transplant. The development of the device began in 2001 when Daniel Timms, inspired by his father's heart condition, started working on the concept during his PhD at Queensland University of Technology in Australia. Since then, it has undergone years of research, redesign, and testing in animals like calves and pigs. So, what challenges come with this heart? One of the biggest challenges is immune rejection, where the body attacks a new organ as a foreign object. That's titanium, not your flesh and blood. Since BiVaCore titanium heart does not contain any biological tissue, the risk of rejection is lower compared with a donor heart or a pig transplant. However, trial protocols indicate patients still take blood thinning medication to prevent clotting around the device. Yeah, I mean, IUDs, which are also just like a piece of plastic that go inside of your uterus, can also get rejected by the body because your body will be like, there's a foreign object in here. That's not supposed to be here. Take it out. I think that's what happened to Melanie, actually. Melanie said hers tried to leave her uterus completely. It went through the wall of her uterus and tried to leave. Like, just expel out. But your body can do that. It can move stuff through the cell walls to just expel it out. Which is crazy to think about. It's very impressive that your body can do that. But it's also very dangerous for your health to have a piece of plastic embedded inside of your body. Additionally, patients with a BiVaCore heart must stay connected to an external power source at all times, which means if those battery fails, it's heart attack time. While portable battery packs allow for some mobility, the process still requires lifestyle adjustments such as battery recharging, avoiding activities that could damage the external parts, and planning travel carefully to ensure access to power. Oh, you need to go on that plane for 10 hours? Sorry, you can't do that. No charger on board. But there's your story about the titanium heart. Maybe not the Millennium Man yet. One day. Or maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't do this. I don't know. Discuss in the comments below what you think about, creating devices to replace the human heart. And maybe, for me, it's worrying because titanium is very expensive and it sounds like something only rich people would be able to afford. So, all the poor people.
Experimental basis.
Yeah.
You can get it for free, but you gotta be dead. Basically.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And this guy's saying in the future it wants to be more, and maybe they're looking at making it a permanent replacement. And if it becomes a permanent replacement, well, only the rich people would be getting it. So, that's what I'm more worried about. In the very far off future, 100 years in the future, when we all have, I can only afford the plastic heart to replace my heart.
Right.
But as the doctors say, right, the one thing to avoid this is just be healthy and don't get heart disease.
Take care of your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Take care of the heart you got. I don't have a personal story. I love a personal opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
This could all be avoided if we could just clone our own bodily organs. You won't get rejected.
Yeah, that's
by your own DNA.
That's its own another thing that only rich people could afford, I guess. At least in that film, The Island, featuring Ewan McGregor.
The technology exists, but we're afraid we're going to invent humans for just harvesting their organs. And I'm like, so? We do it with cattle.
You need to watch The Island again, man. That's the whole point of that film, is to explore that idea.
It's the subject of science fiction, but still, we already know how to clone. We've cloned sheep since like 1994 or something.
Yeah.
Cloning sheep for 30 some years. Why can't we clone a human and just use them organs? Just say, hey, dude, good news for you. You smoked cigarettes your whole life, but we got a new set of lungs for you because you grew them. We grew them from your DNA. Anyway, there's my little personal story. It's not that personal.
Okay, segue wheel.
All right.
Oh, alliteration headline. I thought I was going to land a limerick.
All right. That's been a while for that one. All right, this is from AP News. MacArthur Foundation to increase giving for 2 years in responses to crisis. This is from AP's Thalia Beatty. If you ever watch PBS, you'll see shows that are sponsored by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation. Nearly every show I watch is sponsored by them anyway. The John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation will increase its giving over the next 2 years in response to what it calls a crisis prompted by Stinky the Clown and his freeze on foreign aid and the now suspended freeze on federal grants. This is a major crisis for our sector, and it's time when those of us who can do more should do more, said John Palfrey, president of the MacArthur Foundation, in an interview Wednesday with the Associated Press. Palfrey announced that the increase in the increase in a blog post on the foundation's website saying, "The cliff of funding from federal programs has sent budgets underwater in field after field, and people and communities in the United States and abroad will suffer." Palfrey said the foundation would increase giving from 5% of its endowment, which is the minimum required by the Internal Revenue Service, to at least 6% for the next 2 years. The foundation reported as $8.7 billion in assets in 23 and pays out around $400 million annually. Wow. That's barely 5%. Anyway, Palfrey said he expected to grant around $150 million more over the next 2 years. In his first days of office, Diaper Donnie suspended foreign aid and directed the Office of Management Budget to temporarily spend all federal grants and contracts. Stinky the Clown said he wanted to review whether all grants aligned with his policies, whatever his policies are.
My personal opinion. Yeah.
I'm going to make sure they align with what Russia wants. The moves have had profound impacts across many sectors. The U.S. is the largest funder of global humanitarian responses and spent $68 billion on foreign aid in 2023. In 2021, nonprofits reported receiving $261 billion in government grants, according to analysis of tax forms that nonprofits file by the Urban Institute. In comparison, foundations granted $103 billion in 2023, according to research in Giving USA. So it's about not quite 2 to 1 in private funding. Palfrey called on other foundations to join them in the commitment to increasing their giving. Philanthropy should act in a different way than we have in the past, which is historically we've simply given out more money than the stock market has gone up, and we've given out less money when the stock market has gone down, he said. Freedom Together Foundation, formerly called the JPB Foundation, also announced that it would double its grant making to 10% of its endowment in response to these stupid policies. Deepak Bhargava, the foundation's president, wrote in a letter that the current moment reminds him of the AIDS crisis, when activists pushed the government to find a cure and change the place of LGBTQ plus people in society. The movement made a way out of no way that can happen again, as it has so many times throughout American history. Bhargava wrote, "This is the dispiriting tide of fear right now, and I'm disappointed by how few leaders and institutions are stepping up. But my own experience and our shared history teaches us a hopeful lesson. Courage is contagious." The Chicago-based MacArthur Foundation is best known for its Genius Fellowship, which recognizes extraordinary people who work across disciplines and awards them $800,000 grant. The foundation also focuses on climate, criminal justice, and journalism initiatives, and has ongoing commitments to Chicago and Nigeria. Palfrey said foundations found ways to make more money available to their grantees during the COVID-19 pandemic and could do so again now. For example, the MacArthur Foundation was once one of 8 foundations that issued bonds, essentially borrowing against their endowments to be able to pay out more in the short term. "I think we need to do something different in 2025, Palfrey said, but I think it's the same rationale. Alicia Smith-Aralaga, Vice President of Research at the Center for Effective Philanthropy, said nonprofits report feeling a great deal of uncertainty and anxiety because of Stinky's executive orders. Really, what nonprofits do is they stand in the gap for all Americans. So my hope is that organizations and individuals across this country doing this work in their communities will stand up for the nonprofits that they support, especially in a moment like this."
Mm-hmm.
There's your story on nonprofits. If you have a headline for that, you might want to wait for my next story if you don't have one. But,
I mean, your alliteration, I guess, profits protect people. I can't. Non-profits neglect. See, the problem with non-profits is it's like 2 words, so it doesn't feel like an alliteration. Non-profits nurture nature. Like, what do you want me? There you go. All right, next story.
TheVerge.com. No. Next story. TheVerge.com. BYD announces charging tech that's twice as fast as Tesla's. This is from Dominic Preston. This is TheVerge.com, as I said. Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer BYD has revealed a new fast charging tech that can add 400 kilometers of range from a 5-minute charge. Wow. or 249 miles per hour. 5-minute charge. That's quicker than pumping gas. With the announcement, BYD has promised to make a major investment in charging infrastructure, building over 4,000 new fast chargers across China. Bad news for the United States.
Yeah.
In other countries, this has only happened in China so far. The Super E platform tech is capable of charging at peak speeds of 1,000 kilowatts, double the fastest Tesla V4 superchargers, which will peak at 500 kilowatts when they roll out this year. The faster charging tech is initially available in 2 new vehicles, the Han L sedan and the Tang L SUV, which start at 270,000 won, or $37,333. That's pretty affordable, I think. I mean, considering a brand new truck costs about this.
Yeah.
In order to completely solve our issues, charging anxiety, we have been pursuing a goal to make the charging time of electric vehicles as short as the fueling time for patrol vehicles. BYD founder Wang Chuanfu said from a Shenzhen launch event, "This is the first time in the industry that a unit of a megawatt has been achieved on charging power. The unit of 1 megawatt, that's right, 1,000 watts. I'm sorry, that's 1,000,000 watts. 1,000 watts would be a kilowatt.
Yeah.
It's 1,000,000 watts a megawatt. BYD is also committed to building over 4,000 ultra-fast chargers across China using the new platform, though it didn't specify a time frame for that project. This is a notable move, given that Reuters reports that most BYD owners in China rely on other manufacturers' chargers to keep their chargers topped up. This isn't BYD's only headline-grabbing move. This is not their only headline-grabbing move. Earlier this month, it launched a roof-mounted drone launcher compatible with all of its cars, designed in collaboration with DJI, which allows drones to take off and land up to 25 kilometers per hour. The company is closing the gap on Tesla, having sold 1.76 million cars in 24, just behind Tesla's 1.79 million, although 90% of those sales have been in China and are led by its hybrid vehicles. So good news on the charging front. As this technology advances, we make it a lot easier to fill up at the pump. We won't have these longer delays in your trip, and you'll have more range in your electric car. So there's your good news on that.
Yeah.
And there we are.
Yeah, we've got those hybrid high-end heroes. I don't know. Carefully constructed cars.
And more. You go in the
Just doing
mile,
alliterations over and over again.
2 alliterations. Three of them you got, or 4 of them.
All right, I know the alphabet. And yes, Tommy, that's right. Roger's here back with his camera working because he's got power today. Yay! Having power. Okay, let's roll our second wheel for our culture segment here.
Alright, sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, you do whatever you want. We're just looking at a wheel.
I'm excited about having light. Yeah.
Okay.
I sent you a video. Sent you a video, by the way.
I've already got it. It was the monkey business one?
Huh?
Yes? Okay. This is a story about Neil Young and dynamic pricing. Do you like going to see concerts? Well, sometimes you might notice that the price suddenly goes really high because supply and demand. Well, Neil Young has rejected that, thanks to The Cure's Robert Smith. This is from Ben Beaumont-Thomas on The Guardian. Neil Young has credited The Cure's frontman Robert Smith with inspiring his decision to not allow Ticketmaster to use dynamic pricing for his forthcoming tour. Dynamic pricing is marketed by Ticketmaster as platinum or in-demand tickets, which, according to the company, gives fans the opportunity to purchase the most in-demand tickets to an event at a market-driven price. Like, that's a positive thing. They make it sound like, oh, it's a good thing that the price goes up. Meaning a rise in prices for especially sought-after tickets.
Did we spin the wheel?
Yes, we did.
Did we spin?
Yes,
What did I get?
You got, you also got a alliteration, a headline.
Okay, I guess I wasn't paying attention or something.
That's fine.
Right.
Smith has long been a critic of practice, calling it a greedy scam. In 2023, then elaborating in 2024, We didn't allow dynamic pricing because it's a scam that would disappear if every officer said, I don't want that. But most artists hide behind management. Oh, we didn't know, they say. They all know. If they say they do not, they're either fucking stupid or lying. It's just driven by greed. Those are his words. Writing on his website, Young linked to a story about Smith's stance, saying, trying to read this story about Robert Smith, The Cure, and what they did, I think it was right. Young called dynamic pricing a bad thing that has happened to concerts worldwide. And Smith's, a bad thing that has happened to concerts worldwide. Sorry, that was Smith. Really helped me to realize I have no choice to make and I have a choice to make and can make a difference to my music-loving friends. He elaborated with his own position. Neil Young. My management agent have always tried to cover my back on the road, getting me the best deals they could. They have tried to protect me and the fans from scalpers who buy the best tickets and resell them at huge or increases for their own profits. Ticketmaster high-priced platinum tickets were introduced by the areas where scalpers are buying the most tickets for resale. The money went to me. That did not feel right. Very soon, platinum tickets will no longer be available for my shows. I have decided to let people work this out. Buy aggressively when the tickets come out, or tickets will cost a lot more in the second market. When asked for comment, Ticketmaster said, Ticketmaster is a marketplace that sells tickets on behalf of event organizers, including sports teams, artist teams, theater producers, and so on. We respect their decisions to price their tickets how they see fit. Young, who is 79, is preparing for his Love Earth tour with his band, the Chrome Hearts, with performances across Europe and North America between April and August. Young will play 2 concerts in the UK, headlining Glastonbury Festival, which we've talked about already, on the 20th of June, and BST Hyde Park on the 11th of July. The most notorious recent example of dynamic pricings was for Oasis's UK tour. The huge demand meant that tickets that were originally at £148.5 rose to £355.2. That is more than double. Fans were outraged, and Culture Secretary Lisa Nandley called out the practice, saying it was incredibly depressing. Liam Gallagher was initially unrepentant, telling a fan to shut up. Well, that's Liam Gallagher. Wow, I'm surprised. After they complained about the prices, but the band later distanced themselves from the issue, saying, Oasis leaves decisions on ticketing and pricing entirely to the promoters and management. Oh, it's not my fault. I don't control this. Exactly what Neil Young and The Cure were saying, right? While calling dynamic pricing a useful tool, they also acknowledged its use in the UK ticket sales resulted in an unacceptable experience for fans and did not use dynamic pricing for other territories on the world tour. Not only have The Cure banned dynamic pricing from their tours, they also set the ticket prices low and have confronted Ticketmaster over other fees. In 2023, after seeing US fans are being charged service fees that were sometimes greater than the face value cost of the tickets, Smith took the company to task, saying he was sickened by the fees. Ticketmaster backed down and offered a $10 refund on the affected tickets. It's like, our tickets are $50, and the fees you have to pay are $80. Wait, why are we paying $80 in service fees? What the hell? But there's your story on one of my other favorite topics, dynamic pricing. I don't understand why we're making tickets into an economic stock market. Just leave it alone. Who cares? Oh yeah, but people are reselling tickets for a lot of money. I don't know, let them lose out on money. Don't buy from scalpers. The scalpers can't exist if they aren't making money from it. If you want to talk about free market anyways. There's my story.
Yeah, but people just want to go. And of course, well, I guess I got a alliteration headline. It says, Rocker rejects ridiculous recital raises and remittances. or raises and recital remittances. Recital, another word for concert. I had to do the synonym checker. Synonyms.
Just to make sure,
Start with R. I had to do that. Okay. Time for this day in history as we spin the wheel again.
All right.
I wasn't paying attention.
You're right. We need to spin the wheel. Well, this is for me, so I'm the one who needs to pay attention. To be fair.
This day. Right.
All right. We've got our accurate metaphors.
Metaphors for so many different stories. We're going way, way back in the time machine to 1766. The British Parliament repealed the Stamp Act of 1765 after protests from the American colonists, including a group known as the Sons of Liberty. Oh, yeah. That was the Boston Tea Party, I think, triggered that. Not sure.
Yeah.
1837. We jump way ahead, almost 70 years. 71 years. American politician Grover Cleveland was born. He was the only U.S. president that served 2 discontinuous terms until Stakey.
Oh, that's true.
1885 to 1889, and again in 1893 to 97. He was the one Democratic president in a sea of Republican presidents at that time. As a Republican after Republican after Republican after Lincoln. After Lincoln, it was Republican presidents basically until I guess Wilson, except for Grover Cleveland. On 1869, Neville Chamberlain was a British Prime Minister from May 28th, 1937 to May 10th, 1940. Was born. So happy birthday, Neville Chamberlain, who's famous to in May 10th, 1940, whose name is identified the policy of appeasement towards Adolf Hitler. Of course, Neville Chamberlain came back with a piece of paper from Hitler saying, "This guarantees peace in our lifetime."
I mean, and what did we learn from that?
Yeah, don't trust Hitler.
Well, what we learned is appeasement doesn't work. That's what we learned,
That's right?
People,
right.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you might as well wipe your ass with that paper. That's all it's good for. In 1871, the Commune of Paris, an insurrection of Parisians against the French government, began lasting until May 28th. That's not nearly long enough, Paris. You should still be doing that. May 28th, 2 months. That's enough. That's enough. Let's go have some snails. In 1902, Italian operatic tenor Enrico Caruso, one of the finest musicians to document his voice on a gramophone, made his first phonograph recording. 1902. Wow, that's 123 years ago. Enrico Caruso. I guess he was a mezzo-soprano? I'm not sure. He had a really high voice. 1906, the first monoplane constructed by the Romanian inventor Trajan Voia made the flight of 12 meters or 40 feet. Eat that, Marx Brothers. Or Marx Brothers. Wright Brothers. The Marx Brothers, too. They were famous.
That didn't help at all, yeah.
Comedians. Marx Brothers.
That's a great Freudian slip or whatever. Marx Brothers.
Yeah, right. Is it Freudian?
I guess. Just a slip.
They made their mark. Their mark.
A great slip. That was a great slip.
In 1932, American writer John Updike was born. His novels, short stories, and poems are known for their realistic but subtle depiction of American Protestant small-town middle-class life. Was born. 1936, F.W. de Klerk was born. He was the president of South Africa who brought the apartheid system, racial segregation, to an end and negotiated a transition to majority rule in his country. Quite the hero for giving up not only power, but the whole process about the way things were done. And saying, I know I'm giving up power, and I don't give a crap. I'm doing it anyway. 1964, speed skater Bonnie Blair, one of the most successful American women athletes in American Olympic competition, was born in Cornwall, New York. Bonnie Blair, still younger than me, even though she's been retired for years and years and years. 1965, Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov, after passing through the airlock in spacecraft Voskhod 2, became the first man to walk in space. So in 1965, we celebrated humans walking in space 60 years ago today. In 1974, 7 member countries of OPEC lifted the 5-month oil embargo against the United States. And gas lines. I remember 1974, gas went to astronomical prices, $2.50 a gallon. There was an oil embargo. Astronomical in those days, let me tell you. Well, when you're used to 39 cents a gallon, yeah, that's a lot. 1990, it was considered the world's biggest art heist. 2 men pretending to be police officers stole 13 works, including paintings by Rembrandt and Johannes Vermeer, from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. The stolen art was never recovered. Holy crap. Well, never's a long time.
It's in somebody's attic somewhere.
There's Rembrandts out there. Somebody's clandestinely painted over them, perhaps. Even.
Oh God, that would be scary.
They do that. They do that. They paint over and hide them. It's a puppy. So he painted a puppy over. 2012, Tongan King Tupu V died and was succeeded by his younger brother, Crown Prince Lavaka, who took the name Tupu VI, or Tupu VI. Tupu. P-U-P-O-U. Tupou, maybe. 2017, sad news. American singer-songwriter and guitarist Chuck Berry died at the age of 90. He was a leading and influential performer of rhythm and blues and rock and roll music, the actual true king of rock and roll.
Yeah, inventor of the thing. Maybe not the inventor, songs. But you know.
And again, you could call Elvis the king of rock and roll. Elvis didn't write song one. You know, Chuck Berry played the guitar, sang, and wrote the songs. Of course, he had help writing the songs. It didn't make no difference. He still wrote the songs. Him and his piano player wrote a lot of the songs. March 18th, 2000, the election, this is our featured event, the election of Chen Shui-bian. On this day, 2000, Chen Shui-bian, a leader of the pro-independence movement of that sought statehood for the Republic of China, was elected the president of Taiwan, breaking the Nationalist Party 55-year rule. Yeah, let's be a part of China. That can't be all bad. Okay, guy. Queen Latifah, American actress and musician, born on this day, March 18th, 1970. It's our featured birthday. She turns 55 today. Happy birthday, Queen Latifah. She was born in Newark, New Jersey. I did not know that. Other birthdays today, Grover Cleveland we got, Neville Chamberlain, Mike Webster, American football player, born in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I know who he is. Mike Webster played center for the Pittsburgh Steelers and very famous northern Wisconsin resident, born in 1952. Got too many blows to the head. He's one of those guys that got concussions and so he lost his mind. Very sad. I also covered Queen Latifah's birthday. Sutton Foster's birthday is born in 1975, American actress and singer. And National Day today. It's a few things today. It's National Supreme Sacrifice Day. And it's got pictures of, looks like veterans' graves. Supreme sacrifice, of course, is giving your life for someone else or some greater cause. National Awkward Moments Day. That's that awkward moment where you get up at 4 o'clock every morning. Yeah, awkward.
Awkward. That's so awkward.
It's not really that bad because I gotta pee anyway. When you're my age, you gotta get it sometime.
Might as well get up to go to the bathroom and then read some news stories for an hour and a half.
That's right. Well, I'll be laying there tossing and turning for the next hour anyway.
Yeah.
So.
But after this, your brain's so full of info that you're like, time to sleep. I need to...
I call it an info dump. Actually,
yeah.
I stopped thinking completely. National Lacy Oatmeal Cookie Day. I don't know what lacy means, but it looks like it has frosting drizzled on it. You know, like kind of a.
It's probably sponsored. You know, sponsored by Lacy Cookies. You know, one of those things.
I don't think it's a brand. No.
Oh,
it's also National Sloppy Joe Day, so we got our choices of food. National Biodiesel Day, made from vegetable oil, basically. National AG Day, Ag Day. I think agriculture, short for agriculture, because it's showing a lot of agricultural products, which we all eat agricultural products. If you're eating, it's probably an agricultural product. Right?
As far as I know, no one's eating Mars rocks or peas from the moon.
Yeah, right. This is some pretty good sand. Did you make this sand yourself? Anyway.
My teeth hurt just thinking about that.
Those are your days, those are your nonsense, your spins of the wheel, your days in history, your national days for everything on March 18th, 2025 on Before Sloppy Joe's and Lacy Oatmeal Cookies.
Lovely. And of course, the show is just like a Sloppy Joe. You gotta bring a bib and eat it over a sink. So there you go. There's your metaphor.
Exactly like it.
This has been Allison from the Netherlands and Roger from the west coast of the US as we tie up another Good Tues-Tuesday. I hope you feel a little better about the world because it's not all so bad. And, you know, those 3-year-olds out there who are heroes to us all. We'll see you tomorrow for Wacky and Weird Wednesday. We cover all the weird, odd news that's going out there. That's stuff that people just aren't talking about. Like, you know, a guy getting his foot stuck in a sewer or live alligators. I already have a story here about a live alligator being left behind in a motel room. So make sure you're subscribed to the Allie Maud channel and you have those notifications on so you know when we go live so you can hear all about the live alligator that's been left behind in a motel room. And here is our mic drop moment.
And now for a bit of humor. And I do mean humor.
It's Chuck Berry inventing rap, by the way.
Rhythm and poetry.
Yeah.
Running to and fro, hard working at the mill, never fail in the mill. You got a rotten deal. Too much monkey business.
I love his acting as well. That's why Chuck Berry was so famous. You have to be a performer too.
This is rap. 1955 or so he wrote this.
Same thing every day, getting up, going to school. No need of you complaining, your objections overruled. Yeah. Too much monkey business.
Yeah, he has that ad-lib where he goes, yeah. It's like an ad-lib.
Bob Dylan famously, when he wrote Subterranean Homesick Blues, gave credit to this song. He said, yeah, I just borrowed it from Chuck Berry.
Too much monkey business. Too much monkey business. Too much monkey business for me to be involved in. No.
Of course, most rap songs don't have a guitar solo. But you can't be Chuck Berry and not do a guitar solo. Actually, I'm not going to play the guitar. I'm Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry famously had no band. He would just tour and
Call up who's ever there.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd hire a backup band from local talent.
That's what BTS does with dancers. They don't bring their own dance crew. They just look for local dancers to be in their shows.
I've been to Yokohama, been fighting in the war. Army bunk, army chow, army clothes, army clothes. Too much monkey.
This guy is like mesmerized.
He's like, I'm playing with Chuck Berry. Holy shit.
Working at the station, too many tests. Wipe the windows, check the tires, check the oil, no gas. Too much monkey business. Too much monkey business.
Or maybe he just wants to time his the music kick back in. Usually the drummer is the lead for that. Yeah. Too much monkey business. Thanks, Chuck Berry.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.